Hi, I'm Caroline Mitchell, canine behaviourist at Good Doggy. So people will often tell you that in order to achieve a well-behaved dog, then you really need to tire them out. You need to get rid of all of that energy, walk them, make them play, run, all that kind of stuff, so that they're really tired for the rest of the day. And then for the rest of the day, they're going to be really well behaved. Is that really true though? So they might well have less excess energy for running off, jumping up at people, doing the zoomies and all those kinds of things. But actually that's a really temporary benefit. It will not take your dog very long to catch back up again. And then when they do, the benefit is gone. In fact, the fitter your dog is, the less impactful that kind of strategy will be, because they will be able to bounce back so much faster and they'll have much more energy to drain as well. So it just actually makes things harder for you every single time. Might actually also make things worse for some dogs, because when you drain off all that excess energy, not only do you get rid of that, but also you deplete their willpower too, so they are less able to manage their own emotions, and this can make them vulnerable to reactive behavior or even developing new behavior problems. So once that willpower is gone, that can make them a little bit grumpy and it makes it difficult for them. So tiredness, if that means energy has been drained, then maybe what people are really referring to is contentment. Contentment is a state of happiness and satisfaction, and that's the important part. So contentment happens when all the dog's needs are met, not just their sensory needs, but also their emotional needs and their physical needs as well. I talk about the pyramid of needs quite a lot. And if you're interested in that, you should check that video out, because I did a whole video just about that and explained all about the different needs and how they will affect the choices that your dog makes throughout the day. Unmet needs are the #1 cause of behavior problems, not too much energy. So exercise is there on the pyramid of needs, so we can't ignore it. But when we meet all of the dog's needs, our dog will be fully content. And that's how you get your well-behaved dog, and not just for the next hour or two until they've managed to catch up, have a little snooze, have a little rest and got their energy levels back up, had a wee snack. Contentment lasts. So what does this mean for you? So many of our dogs' needs we're quite good at meeting naturally. We work very hard on the training and the learning part of the dog's pyramid of needs. These needs though are at the very top of the pyramid, and that's the really small bit at the top. So these have the absolute least impact on our dog's overall behavior. But there are some big ones at the bottom that will make a much bigger difference to your dog's behavior. And these are the ones that get missed the most. And these are the ones that have the most impact on general behavior problems and leaving dogs open and vulnerable to behavior problems. So these needs are the social need, the safety need, and exploration needs. Meeting the social need, that means making friends and interacting with new and old friends. This is not just living with another dog. Remember, in lockdown, many people lived with another human, but that wasn't enough to meet our social needs. And it isn't enough for our dogs either. We need to socialize with new dogs. We need to practice our social skills with different kinds of dogs, with different kinds of personalities. So that's how you would meet your dog's social need. Safety need comes from a feeling of security and trust. So we can build this up by using only reward-based methods that will increase that trust and feeling security, recognizing signs of discomfort and advocating for that. We're not talking about when your dog is barking and lunging at something because they're scared of it. We're talking about the very first signs that they're coming out of their comfort zone. We don't want to push them past that. So we're looking for things like sort of stiff behavior, avoidance behaviors, maybe trying to move back, trying to go behind your legs, turning the head away, even alertness, lip licking. By the time your dog has become alert, maybe staring, perhaps they've gone a bit further out of their comfort zone than we would like. So recognizing those signals and responding to those at the time can also help to build trust and a feeling of security. We don't want our dogs to feel like we're going to constantly keep pushing them well out of their comfort zone into places they're not coping well. Also, dogs don't really learn anything when they've gone out of their comfort zone anyway. As soon as their brain switches off, they go into survival mode. They're not in learning mode. So when you push them too far out of their comfort zone, then any learning they might have been having before has now gone, all the dog is concerned with at this point now is survival. So we don't want to push them in there. We don't want to keep pushing them into a survival feeling. We want to keep them into the learning zone. Quite often people will tell you that you should always expose your dog to more things, and they'll get used to it. But this just doesn't happen, because when they're out of that comfort zone, they're not learning anything. So they're not going to get used to anything. The worst that might happen is they might just actually shut down and go into kind of a real sort of an extreme avoidance state where they're almost just pretending this isn't happening. And sometimes that can look like they've got used to something, but actually inside they're just, they're just really just desperate to get out of there and get away. But they're just pretending it's not happening. Hopefully it'll be over kind of soon. So we don't want to start exposing them to stuff that they're not comfortable with. And sometimes we inadvertently do that because we do feel like exposure will help and they will get used to it. So watching your dogs, especially at times when you think they might not be great, craft fairs, often people take them to markets, off-lead dog parks. If your dog doesn't like off-lead dogs coming near them, avoid places like that. Maybe your dog's not great in coffee shops. Also managing your front door routine as well can be really helpful, because all of this just builds up a sense of security and it stops them feeling like they're in self-defense mode when they don't need to be. And exploration, this meets the food and territory need, which is on the bottom of the pyramid. Exploration is a way of performing a sort of hunting behaviors, searching, discovering, following, tracking. All of those are important for sort of food, hunting, that kind of stuff, foraging. And of course, sniffing and exploring, following scents, walking through long grass. All of these are really good ways to really kind of meet that need. So forget about trying to build up your steps. You're really just looking for places where your dog can really have a sniff around and explore something, follow a scent. New places are great for this. Long grass, as I said already. Some really, really good ways of meeting those needs. So meeting all of those needs will make your dog content. You don't need to exercise them to exhaustion, but they will come home just feeling generally happy. They've had a good time. All of their needs have been met. And you could do all of this just by being mindful of where you're walking your dog. I think that teaching your dog a recall is probably the most important thing that a dog owner can do. If you teach nothing else, just teach a recall. Long and extendable leads are probably the worst thing that have ever been invented, because a decent recall means that your dog will be able to get off their lead in a safe place. They'll be able to explore. They'll be able to exercise more. They'll be able to manage their own fear. So if something's happening near them, they can choose how they respond to that. They're not going to be trapped on a lead. Even a very long lead can still have that kind of effect. They can't move away when they want to. They can't escape how they want to. They can't exhibit the same body language that they would prefer to. And they can choose to make friends if they want to. And this is really important for meeting that kind of social need, security need, and the exercise need, hunting needs. All of those things can all happen just by teaching your dog a really good recall. The side benefit to that too is that a dog that exercises off lead without even a long line, they won't feel the same kind of frustrations that can build up throughout the day. They'll also be able to run and play, which is a good way of letting stress out as well. So as well as not building up frustration, whatever little frustrations they might have had through the day are released really, really easily. So much better than exercising our dogs to exhaustion. Let's work on creating a feeling of contentment instead. And if you do just one thing going away from here, I would suggest go away and start working on a really excellent recall so that your dog can start getting off the lead in safe places like the beach and the local parks, forest areas, anywhere that's local to you that would be a safe place to let a dog off the lead. You'll find that they will meet all of their own needs, the most important ones, just by getting off their lead and doing something that they really love when they're off their lead. If you don't know how to go about that, then I suggest having a look on my website. I do a 30-day recall plan. It's step-by-step instructions. It will give you something every single day to do to work towards that perfect recall. It helps you go through all of the kind of problems you might face, how to solve those, how to worry about distractions, rewarding behaviors and all that kind of stuff. It's all in there and it will get you from no recall to a really pretty good recall by the end of it. And after that, you'll just need to keep on practicing it if you need to do more work on it. However you decide to do it though, teaching recall in a really positive way and going to new places on your walks will solve a huge amount of problems, and it will get you a really content and happy dog, but not a tired and grumpy one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye bye.